It's that time of year when Hunkydory does their Christmas Blockbuster, and that's what we have today, and Heidi has been having a great time. We ask you to please come play with us. Okay, so there are 4 collections, and each of them has a bonus, and that's what Hunkydory does this time of every year. So we have Festive Fun. Now, normally these luxury topper collections will have 8 die-cut sheets, 8 printed cardstock, 8 foil cardstock, and an idea sheet. But each of these has more. It has 10 of the foiled, 10 of the die cuts, and 10 of the printed. So you're going to get over 120 foiled die cuts. So everything is a bonus, and that's part of the Blockbuster. So Festive Fun is one of the toppers. There's also the inserts, and they number 20. There's also a Contemporary Christmas and an inserts selection that matches, and that's also 20. Then we have the Winter Wonderland and the inserts, and we have Christmas Classic and the inserts, so all of that. In addition, there is a Blockbuster pack of Adorable Scorable. It has 50 sheets in it, and of course the colors are going to go across all of them. And there's also a magazine. This is Crafting with Hunkydory. This is their Christmas special for this year. And it showcases 80 projects using all 4 of the collections that I just shared with you. So that is our beginning. And then to see what Heidi has done. So let me bring this in. But first, I want to share this with you. So we'll get in tighter on this. And like many of us this year, Heidi has experienced a power outage. And you can get it, yeah, thank you, Steve. And she wanted to share, this is how she was developing these cards. It was by candlelight. And that was just something that she wanted to share with us, and appreciate your dedication, Heidi. Good girl. Okay, we're going to go first. And here is our first card. And isn't this fun? This is something different. And I think it's just really, really great. And this is coming out of, I believe, the Festive Christmas collection. So that's what that looks like. And let me show you what she has done. In fact, I do want to show you something just in the beginning of each of these to share this with you. You know, I stand corrected. This is from the Winter Wonderland. So this is what you come to expect from Hunkydory. This is the topper sheet. And as I said, they're usually 8, but in this Christmas assortment, you get 10 with each one. And I just want to point out that this has got that arch shape, so that's what she has used. There is always a matching foiled Adorable Scorable. This is the one that goes with this. And a printed one. Of course, this time you get 10. And there's always an insert. So everything matches and everything works together. Now, let's go back to making our card, shall we? So what Heidi has done is she has taken our silver linen paper. It's actually a very lightweight cardstock, and you can see the texture that comes with this. And she has cut a strip that's 12 inches long by 2 inches tall. And then she's done some scoring and some folding. So starting from the left, 2.5 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, and 9.5 inches, okay? And this is going to make this piece along the bottom that allows everything to stand up, okay? So what she's done is that the outside pieces are going to be in valley folds. So they're going to look like that V shape. The inner 2 are going to go into mountain folds. So they're going to be like that. Looks like a mountain, looks like a valley. And this becomes the base. We're going to lay it flat to place our pieces, but I wanted you to have that, that piece. And I think you can use this lots of different times, don't you think? Let me show you the card, because I always get the question, will it really stand up? So let me show that to you. I know you're only seeing it head down, but yes, it will stand up. So that's nice. And it's really a good idea, I think, when you've got these die cuts or images that are the same shape. That's that nice repetition. So what Heidi has done is she started with the outside pieces. So both of those, now notice that each of those images, the snowman's face is pointing into this little guy. So you want to have that, and that's just a nice thing to remember. So they are right here. Here's one, and here's the other. So she simply popped those out and glued them to the base, just right along pretty close to that edge. Now for this piece, she's done something different. So she has taken this, and Heidi wanted to have the back of her card have some interest also. So she took the insert, here it is, and she glued the outside two arches, so there's 3 here. She took the outside 2 and glued them to the back of this insert so that that little snowman would show on the back of her card. So that worked out very nicely. Now she only glued the outside 2, the largest and the middle one, because this one is going to get foam taped. Okay, and you can see it's foam taped right there, and that just gives some dimension. And you can see that there's 3 of the topper pieces from, or the greetings from there, and they're foam taped and glued flat. Okay, now there's something else going on, and I bet you can see all that sparkle that's happening in addition to that foil, and that comes from diamond dust. And the diamond dust is just a really great thing to use when you want that glistening effect. So what Heidi has done is she used our specialist glue, and you can either apply it with that needle nose applicator, or you can brush it on with a paintbrush, just whatever you want. And she likes to put it wherever there is snow in the artwork. You might think of it too, just wherever you want that glistening to be. So she's done it on the tree, certainly the snowman's hat, along the bottom a little bit, and a little goes a long way. So you're going to have the glue, you'll open this up and pour these crystals on it, and then press it in, and then shake off any excess and return it to the container, because this is the 3-ounce container. There's also a 14-ounce, but it will go a long way, and that's really fun. So that is our first card, and as I said, this is out of the Winter Wonderland collection. Okay, let's move on, and we will have the next one. And this is an oversize. Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you something. Okay, in this one, and actually in many of these cards, Heidi used the Christmas sparkles from Hunkydory. These are self-adhesive pieces that are shiny and glittery. You won't have those 2 pieces missing, but you'll have all of them. I borrowed this from our design team, and she has used the purple ones down here, one there, a clear one right there, and some on the outside pieces too. So I just wanted to bring that in. This is a strip of a border from that sheet, as well as we talked about those other sentiment toppers. Okay, that takes care of that, and the purple ribbon was used right there. Okay, so purple and snow just seems to go together. Okay, we're going to shift now and go into this. Now this card is out of, let me pull these in. This is the Festive Fun Collection. So you can see the geese, and this is the topper set that she's using. You can see that right there. This is the adorable scorable that is printed, and you can see that's going to go on the front of her card. This is the one that is foiled, and they often do this where there's one that's kind of generic, and that's kind of fun. And then here is the coordinating insert, and that's going to get used on the inside appropriately of her card. Now, what Heidi has done is, out of that big packet of adorable scorable, that 50 pack sheet, she took the green one and she cut off 1/4 of an inch off the short end. Okay, this is an A4 size, kind of think of it as an 8.5 by 11 plus, but you want to cut off that quarter of an inch, score it in the middle, and that's going to create the basis for our card. Then what she has done is she's gone into that printed adorable scoreable. Here it is. And she has cut a piece. She cut off part of the snow at the bottom and did the measurement here. The measurement, by the way, is down below in the gallery. You'll see this card. Just click on it and you'll get all the instructions. Then she matted that on our new gold cardstock. These are 8.5 by 11. I guess I can show you that. We're talking about A4 versus 8.5 by 11. So you can see the A4 is a little bit longer, but it is, the 8.5 by 11 is wider. So that's how that works. So this cardstock comes in a pack of 3, I believe. It's a really great price. And she has used that as a mat behind this and then attached it to the front of her card. Now, the other thing that you're seeing there is the Snowfall acetate. And I'm happy to tell you that we now have it in the 16 pack, but we also had in a 5 pack. So just depending on your need, that should take care of it for you. And what Heidi did is she cut her piece of acetate about a half an inch wider than her card, the same length of her card, and then scored ½ inch, that extra ½ inch. And then it's going to get attached using the extra sticky tape that with the orange liner on the back of her card. You don't have to cover the whole thing. Just bring that around and that works just fine. Now, you'll go, and you do want to score that and really burnish it down with your bone folder or your scissors, whatever you want to use, because you really want it to stay down. We will attach it in just a moment. But first, we're going to place the pieces on the acetate. And again, you can use the same extra sticky tape to attach them. And you can see the border down here, the greeting, that's actually been foam taped. This is flat, and this piece is foam taped. Now, on the back of that, where the acetate is, place the extra sticky tape. I just put a strip here and right along that edge, and then remove the liner and press it down, and that will hold it onto your card. You don't have to have it attached everywhere. You can see, let's see, because I did this. Okay, you can see that's not attached. It's only attached under these elements that are going to hide it. So that works quite nicely. Of course, the red ribbon pack is going to be very useful when you're doing your Christmas projects. And then on the inside, just as I said, we've got the insert, we've got another of the toppers, a little tiny bow, and then again, she's gone into the Christmas sparkles. So we've got some green here, a little red there, just adding a little bit more dimension. Okay, and this was from the Festive Fun Collection. So it's right there. And I love that penguin, by the way. And Steve on the camera has a Scotty dog. So every time there's a Scotty dog, he absolutely notices it. Okay. Now we're going to go into another Christmas assortment. And this is the card that she's done. Now, what's interesting is that this is a little different. You might think, okay, well, that's just a horizontal card, but it's not. What happens is that this front opens and this stays attached to the inside of the card. So that's a nice set. Now, this is going to come, here's the topper set. This comes from Christmas Classics. So really cute, kind of an advent calendar going on there, or a clock with some little elves. Here is the adorable scoreable. We're going to be using that. Here is the foiled one. That doesn't get used this time, but you've got it anyway. And here is the insert. Okay, you got a peek at that. Now what she has done is she's taken the regular card, our 5 by 6.5 inch card, and she cut the front of it, cut the 1 3/4 inches off and discarded that. So you're just going to measure it, cut here and cut along the fold and discard it, okay? Now, with this, she has taken the printed cardstock and she's going to glue that onto the front here as well as right here, although it is 2 pieces. And you can see that edge along the bottom. Now this piece doesn't get used, so you've got that to use with another project, so that's nice. So this piece is going to take care of both the front and this. Then going into this area, we'll look at that first, okay? And we're going to take the outside square and we're going to glue it to the yellow Adorable Scorable from that 50 pack, and then just trim the edge so that is even. So you can see this yellow braided along the red. Well, that's that piece, and that gets matted onto the yellow, but it's cut even. Then that gets foam taped on the front of the card on this section. Then this piece, which is the center, you're going to foam tape that on. Then you're going to add the Glad Tidings, which is right there. And we're going to go back to the sparkles. You can see the red ones there. Going back to that red ribbon set right here. Then going to the inside of our card, okay? And we have this area that was already covered in our first step. So we've got these 2 foam taped, the Merry Christmas, those are all on that same sheet. And then this is going to be attached and covered with our insert. So again, it's always a ghosted back image, but it just lets your designing flow from the front of the card to the inside of the card, and that just works nicely. Then this is one of the greetings from the die cuts. This piece and this piece I thought was really interesting is that Heidi used part of this and cut that out and glued it along the fold and then glued it between the 2. So boy, this little piece does a lot of things. And we've got that red bow right there, red bow up here, and as I said, the Christmas sparkles have been used. Okay. So this was from the Christmas Classics collection. So we've got one more, and this is it. And this is out of, let me bring my products in. This is from the Contemporary Christmas. Now, I don't know, Contemporary Christmas is not a term that I really like. It seems like Christmas should be nostalgia, but there are some absolutely wonderful things in here. And I will tell you, my favorite, actually you can see it on the insert, is that bunny. In fact, there are a couple of them. I think it's just beautiful. Okay, so Contemporary it is. They get to name it. It's their company. Now, this is using the swans, as you can see. What I really love that Heidi does is that there's a surprise with almost everything she does. You can saw this, that this pops up, that this stands and just so effectively uses that silver linen. And that's just really nice. And this one with the snowfall on top of it, you can make a card any size just using those ideas. For this card, look what's going to happen. This is going to flip up, and then this is going to open, and look how it's opening. So you start with a gatefold card, and then you add a flap to it. Very nice, very easy to do. So, okay, we'll start with the gatefold. So we use our 5 by 6.5 inch cards, open it flat, and then you can see that score line in there. Maybe you can see it, but there is a score line. So we always cover that so it doesn't show. You're going to take the outside pieces and bring them to the middle just so they meet. You don't want them to overlap. And you do want to take your bone folder, and it's probably a good idea to score that first. And you can use the Hunkydory adorable scoreboard if you want to, or just a ruler and measuring it and then using your bone folder or whatever you want to use, okay? So you've got your gatefold card. Then you're going to cut a piece, and again, the measurements are in the down below, and it's a little, I think it's about 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and then you're going to score that 1/2 inch, and that flap is going to attach right here. Again, we would recommend using the extra sticky tape, because anything that gets handled and manipulated, it's just good to have an extra strong adhesive. So that flap only comes right here, okay? Now, in order to cover that, we're going to go into this piece. This is the foiled piece. But what Heidi did is she really focused on the border. And let's see, I can show it to you a little bit better on the gatefold, but she did the same thing on the flap. So she cut a piece for here, same size here. In this particular case, she matted it on the silver cardstock, the metallic silver cardstock, just like the gold but silver, and glued it to each of the gates. So these are gatefold card, we'll call these gates. And she did the same thing of taking this piece, so she had 2 strips here, she still has an area, and she flipped it and just cut a piece right there, matted it on the same silver cardstock, and glued it in place. So that creates the decorative edge that you're seeing both on the front and on the gates. Okay, then we'll get rid of that. She went into the die cuts, and in this case, she used all of them together. So there are 3 layers here, and this is kind of the square one. There is an oval one, and this piece was glued onto the silver cardstock and just trimmed the silver right even with it, and that was glued right here. So it's only glued, of course, to the top flap, but it's such a nice large focal that it does a really great job right there. Okay, now you can see that she zodded on a red bow, and that's going to do the trick. Now going into this piece, so she has taken more of the die cuts. So the rectangular one is up here. The greetings, season's greetings to you, is right here. I forgot to tell you about covering the inside of the card, so let me flip there. Here is the insert, and she has glued that area, just filling that whole inside. So this is going to be 5 by 6.5 inches. And then she let the top part cover the inside of that flap, okay? And then she has glued that right there. Now, there's something I think really clever that she did, and I love this. Do you see how this die cut, the artwork matches the insert? And then you see this swan and the feathers are matching? I think that's just a really nice touch. So she simply took the square one and glued it right on top. Now for the flaps, I want to point out that she glued one of them to the left gate, and then the other 2, which are right here and right here, she glued to the right gate, so that you get this really kind of flourish as it opens. Okay, and I don't know why I keep saying okay, like you're going to say, yeah, Paulette, that's right, but you can tell me in the comments. And she's added, again, the same Christmas sparkles right here. The purple looks really nice, some red, and then a red here between the 2, more of the red ribbon. And then that's just how it folds. One other thing about this card Heidi wanted me to share is that because this piece is here, you can actually tuck that little point into or under that topper if you want just an extra security to hold that down. So that's your choice. Okay, so you can see, I think it's really fun that Hunkydory has this tradition that they have for their Christmas Blockbuster with giving us extra art, extra die cuts, extra pieces in everything, and then going the extra step of doing the magazine and having that bonus of the 50 adorable scoreable. So it's quite a collection, and I think you're going to have a great time creating with all of this. And there is a money saver over on the right side of your screen. When you buy everything, you get a discount for it, but you also get the magazine for free. And of course, you can get everything individually. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and for Heidi for creating by candlelight. That's a new thing. Hopefully that's not going to be something we have to do very often. And so thank you, Heidi. Thank you for being here and for joining us and being part of our Paper Wishes family. Happy holidays.